Did you know silence can be louder than words? Sounds strange, right? But here's the unsettling truth. The most powerful people in history, leaders, lovers, manipulators, and even enemies, didn't always dominate with their voice. They dominated with their silence. Because silence isn't weakness. It's a weapon, a mirror, a psychological trick so subtle. Most people never see it until it's too late. And today, we're breaking it down. Why silence controls attention, why silence attracts desire, why silence commands respect, and why silence is feared. Stay with me, because the craziest part is coming. Here's a fact no one tells you. The person who talks less controls the conversation more. Think about it. When you go silent in a heated argument, what happens? The other person fills the space. They get nervous. They explain. They justify. And suddenly, they reveal everything. You reveal nothing. That's power. Psychologists call it the power of absence. By withholding words, you force the other person to chase clarity. It's why the silent type often feels mysterious, because silence creates curiosity. Curiosity creates attraction, and attraction, that's control. But this is just the surface, because silence can do something darker. It can make people doubt themselves, and that changes everything. Let's talk about relationships. Why is it that ignoring someone can make them want you more? Here's the ugly truth. The human brain hates uncertainty. When someone pulls away, our mind spins. Did I say something wrong? Do they not care anymore? Why aren't they texting back? That silence becomes a magnet. It eats away at them. And soon, they're chasing. They're overthinking. They're addicted. It's why some people use the silent treatment as emotional control. It's toxic, but it works. Because silence is not passive. It's active pressure. It's like a vacuum, pulling emotions into it. But here's the twist. Silence doesn't just make people chase. Sometimes, it makes them break. Silence can wound deeper than words ever could. Imagine this. You confess your feelings. You wait. And they say, nothing. That silence cuts sharper than rejection, because at least rejection gives closure. Silence gives nothing, and that nothingness echoes louder than any insult. History is filled with examples. Diplomats using silence to unsettle enemies. Monks using silence as spiritual dominance. Psychopaths using silence to terrify victims. The absence of sound creates a storm in the mind. And here's the shocking part. Silence doesn't just hurt others. It protects you. It keeps your power hidden. It keeps your thoughts untouchable. It makes people project their own fears onto you. And projection is the most powerful manipulation of all. Here's a scenario. You're in an argument. They scream. They demand. They want a reaction. But you stay silent. What happens? They get louder, more emotional, more desperate. Because silence is resistance. It says, you don't control me. It drains their energy while you conserve yours. This is why the calmest person in the room always wins, because silence isn't empty, it's full of dominance. But here's where it gets fascinating. Silence doesn't just win arguments, it rewires respect. The one who controls emotion controls perception, and silence is emotional control in its purest form. Quick question. Would you survive a 7-day silence challenge? No talking, no texting, no posting. Drop your answer in the comments and subscribe before you forget, because the next part might just change the way you see power forever. Here's something wild. In attraction, silence can create more desire than compliments ever will. Why? Because words are predictable. Silence is unpredictable. When you pause before answering, when you don't rush to text back, when you let them wonder, you plant seeds of obsession. They replay your silence in their head. They assign meaning to it. They crave the answer that never came. And craving is stronger than having. It's why silence feels seductive, because silence is an unfinished story. And unfinished stories are irresistible. But silence isn't always noble. Silence can be cruel, manipulative, even destructive. The silent treatment in relationships, That's emotional abuse, because silence, when used with malice, doesn't build attraction, it breaks trust. But here's the paradox. Even when silence hurts us, we still respond to it, because the brain is wired to seek closure, and silence denies closure. It leaves a scar. This is why ghosting feels worse than rejection, why cold shoulders hurt more than insults, why silence can destroy love faster than betrayal. But remember this, silence is a tool. Like fire, it can warm you or burn you alive. So, how do you master silence without becoming toxic? Simple. Use silence as space, not punishment. Use silence as patience, not cruelty. When you don't know what to say, stay silent. When emotions run high, stay silent. When people disrespect you, stay silent. Because silence is clarity, it's strength, it's choice. And most importantly, silence makes your words matter more. Because when you finally speak, people listen. So now you know the truth about silence. It isn't weakness. It isn't emptiness. It's power. The power to attract, the power to control, the power to command respect without saying a single word. But here's the real question. Will you use silence to build or to destroy? Tell me below. And if this opened your eyes, subscribe. Because the next video will blow your mind even more.